Hey everyone, it's my pleasure to announce that Smooth Sack Summer is officially upon us. When you're playing in the summer sun, you better make sure you're groomed from pubes to bum. And thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make this your smoothest season yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while you're looking hot. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the code THPN. Summertime and the trimming is easy. Every man knows how scary it can get when going for a close shave below the belt, and that's why we trust Manscaped for all of our sensitive areas. The Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. Don't wait, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. It's Smooth Sack Summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 223 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Mr. Nick Manella. What's going on, my friend?
A lot, boys. I feel like it's been a month since we've recorded because I think it's actually been like, what, a full week now?
Yeah, in EB time, that's about the same thing.
It is, and in Stanley Cup final time, that's like a year. So we've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. I'm sure if you're watching this on YouTube, you can already tell there's a lot going on. So I'm excited to get after this one with you fellows.
Absolutely. We are balls deep in the Stanley Cup final at the moment. Balls seem to be a topic of conversation today if you are listening. I'm now going to toss it across the screen to my other co-host, Mr. Mac Vogel. What's going on, my friend?
What's up, guys? Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you might notice that tarp's off right now. It is hot as a bitch in my apartment. We don't have central AC. I think the power went out while I was at work because I got home and I had to like reboot my in-room AC unit. So yeah, it's kind of a sauna in here. If you're watching on YouTube, you're welcome. I'm pretty sexy, so that's kind of a bonus for you. But yeah, I might be like icing myself down or like fanning myself throughout the episode. So just mind your business or just enjoy the show, whatever floats your boat.
I'm going to echo what Nick said before we started recording, but if you're not on YouTube, you should be because we currently have a tarpless McCain Vogel with a cock hockey hat on. It's quite the scene.
Yeah, also another shout out to my boy Ian Powderly. As you guys know, I was just in the greater Baltimore area for the last like 2 weeks. Ian Powderly is a South Carolina hockey alumni, and I went to Donut Tavern to watch Stanley Cup Game 2 with him a couple weeks back now, and he told me he had a present for my head. And I got there, and it was this hat. He said when they were on the team, they made a bunch of these hats. It's actually by Selly Hockey, so it's by that same
Oh,
brand that makes
nice.
all those other good hats.
Oh,
But yeah, free hat, cock hockey. What's
There
not
you
to
go.
like?
I
super
feel
cool.
like this
Love it.
should be on like the EB only fans, but right now I think Mac just wants only fans, like literal fans,
Yeah, I really do. That's a good one. Put it behind a paywall anyway, though, right? See what we
right?
get.
Yeah.
Mac,
Uh,
I can kind of relate. It's cooking up here too.
it's bad.
I don't do well in the heat, boys. Like I live in Wisconsin for a reason. I can deal with like extreme cold, but my goodness, do I get flustered when it's like just even a smidge too hot.
So it's like 90s all week here in the DMV. And for anyone that lives on the East Coast, you know that just means humidity, humidity, humidity. If I'm not physically underwater, I cannot be outside.
I'm a little bit of a psycho. I like the heat. Not when I sleep. I feel like that's pretty common. I don't like to be hot when I sleep, but during the day, like working up a little bit of a sweat, nice cold shower in the evening. But yeah, it is summertime for sure. And I texted you guys this the other day. What is it, June 19th? And we are still in the Stanley Cup Finals. Just feels a little weird to me. I'm the biggest hockey fan you'll ever meet, but with all these days off in between Cup final games, I've been watching a lot of Orioles baseball, Skowos, Hun, and it's just got me in the mood, ready to move on. I'm not wishing the next two games, potentially next two games away, but I'm ready to move on to baseball this season. I will say that.
It's one of those things where, like, obviously hockey's the thing we love most on this planet, but like it's starting to get to the point where it's like, okay, this can end because I kind of do want to like not miss all the other amazing sports that are coming this summer. You mentioned the O's, we've got the Olympics.
Yeah.
Team USA Soccer is about to kick off tonight, the night you guys are listening to this. Euro is in full swing, so I'm all over that. But yeah, it's just one of those things where you feel like, yeah, June 19th, like the cup should have been handed out like a week ago.
Yeah, the US Open is over. Like, what are we doing
Right.
here? Like, congrats to Shambo, by the way. If you don't like him, I personally like him. His YouTube content is great. It's funny. Last thing I'll say on golf, I started out as the big Brooks Koepka guy, and I hated DeChambeau. And fast forward like 4 years in a pandemic, and man, that has just 180. Now I love DeChambeau, and I'm not exactly the biggest Koepka guy, so
What
go
did that for
figure.
you?
Bryce's YouTube content is really good. And if you don't know, like his YouTube channel has like 750,000 subscribers and he gives great tips. He kind of like explains all of his little nuances about his clubs and his golf balls. He does collabs with all like the YouTubers. He's really um likable, as weird as that sounds. And Kepka not so much these days, in my opinion. But I digress. Hockey podcast. We're gonna move into hockey. Before we go into our cup final update, we have a message from our sponsors at DraftKings.
Hey everybody, it's Harry here. Got a word from our sponsor over at DraftKings. We are this close to crowning the Stanley Cup champion, and with the action heating up on the ice, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New to DraftKings, listen up. New customers can get a no sweat bet up to $1,500. Just deposit at least $5 and you'll get a bonus bet back equal to your first bet if it doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get a no sweat bet up to $1,500 if your first bet doesn't hit. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 8778 HOPE NY or text HOPE NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. One no sweat bet per new customer issued as one bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after assurance. See dkng.co/ice for eligibility, wagering and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved.
Alrighty, so last time we recorded, we had our live game one recap, which was a bunch of fun. Thanks for all the great feedback on that. And then game two, when we had Harry travels and McCain travels going at the same time, but we made it work. Me and Nick ended up recording that one. Let's talk about hot down in Texas. Holy shit. But anyways, game three. I know that feels like ages ago. We're not going to spend too much time on the older games, but Florida took a 3-0 lead. I lost a lot of money on that game. Yes, I hammered the Oilers. I was one game too soon. Florida wins 4-3. Hell of a game by Barkov and Bobrovsky. Then we move back to game four, and prisoner of the moment. Everybody's comparing it to the NBA Finals, and they're like, "Oh, it's going to be the sweep," and we get an 8-1 ass whooping from the Edmonton Oilers, and they have been nothing but spectacular since that game. They roar back in game five to win 5-3, and now here we are, the Florida Panthers up 3-2, game six, Friday night, back in Alberta to 4-7. Connor McDavid is humming right now. And I just want to ask you boys, what are your thoughts on this series now?
So first things first, let's just get this out of the way now. I did pick the Oilers, so this is just par for the course for me for this playoffs at this point. But the 8-1 thing, that's not the big win. The 5-3 win is exponentially bigger than the 8-1 win, in my opinion. This is crazy. I mean, everyone was saying it's over, they're dead, they're done. They find a way to rip off this insane win in game 4, and then they probably play the best game, I would say, of their postseason in game 5. I would say that's bigger than the game 6 against Dallas.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I heard a lot of people being like, "Holy shit, like, a lot of the non-hockey fans just being like, "Wait, they really won 8-1? That's crazy. Like they must be so much better or something." It's like, no, they caught the Panthers sleeping a little bit in game 4. That happens, obviously, especially when you got a 3-0 lead. You maybe rest on your laurels a little bit, but I agree with you. Game 5, I not only was that the most entertaining game of the season or of the series so far, but really impressive from Edmonton. I will say though, I started to feel like the first half of that game had me really worried for Florida because I'm thinking like, holy shit, they've gotten out. They're putting all those stats up. They were like they've gotten outscored 11-1 since game 3 or whatever. Like and you're like, holy shit, like the Oilers figured it out now. Like they're gonna come all the way back, but I feel really good about the way the Panthers ended that game too. They had the Oilers on their heels. The Oilers kind of barely survived. I know they get that empty net. I don't know. It was looking a little scary. And if somehow that game gets tied and goes to OT,
No
oh
chance in
boy.
hell Edmonton wins
Oh
if it goes
boy,
to
yeah.
overtime.
That's what I
No.
kept thinking. I was like, with this crowd in Florida and you just blew a three goal lead, like no way. So that being said, I think that kind of sets us up for hopefully a really good game 6. I still feel good about the Panthers winning that one. I think they kind of got their mojo back in the second half of that last game, like I said. But I mean, I'm glad to have a series at least. The last game was super fun.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was nervous about. I was like, this is really going to end in 4, and we're just going to say, yeah, the Panthers were the better team and they came back again this year and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I'm glad that we're getting some good hockey here. I think everybody is expecting the Oilers to go home and force this thing 7. The betting odds, which we'll talk about in a second, would suggest that. Before we kind of move on from the Stanley Cup final, because I definitely want to dissect a little more. What are your immediate thoughts on game 6? And how do you think that one's going to play out?
I mean, my wallet hurts seeing how much it's going to cost just to get in the damn door to game 6. I mean,
Right.
that is insane.
Right. Like, I think, what was it? Like 2,800 Canadian. They just get into section 200. And then when you're on the glass, it was like 8,000 or something like that.
Which is like 6,500 US, I think.
It's the last home game of the season, no matter
Jesus.
what.
Yeah.
True.
Mac, what do you think?
I think the Cats get it. I do. I mean, here's the thing, like everyone keeps saying the Cats are really in trouble now, and now Oilers have all the momentum and all the pressures on Florida. And like to an extent that's true, but like they could still lose another game. And then also guess what? If they do, they get to go back home and play game 7 at home. Like I
Yeah.
still am not worried for the Cats at this point. This is what happens when you get a 3-0 lead. You have so much wiggle room. You can fuck up a bunch and still win the Stanley Cup. Like that's so I mean, this would be this will go down in history as like the most ridiculous thing that's maybe ever happened in our sport if the Oilers come back and win this series in 7 to hoist the cup. But I don't see it. I'm not worried yet. Now if they blow the doors off the Cats in game 6 and it's another like 6-1 game or something like that, then I might be a little worried. But as of right now, the way that last game ended, I'm feeling okay. I think, we always see teams win on the road, right? The cup, how many times has the cup been won on the road? It's almost a little bit less pressure. You go on the road, you put your head down, you get shit done. I don't know. The boys in the NHL, they like their road trips.
Yeah, you just
Maybe
put
not,
your
maybe not
hard
that
hat
far,
on,
but
grab your thermos and your lunch pail, and you go to work. And we've heard so many guys say that, on so many of those cup winning teams on the road. Caps did it, Blues did it the year after them. I feel like I'm a little bit more worried if I'm Florida. Like I would put my panic index at about a 6 or 7 right now. I'm sweating, but I'm not freaking out yet. And mainly that's just because I know I got to go back to their barn. And if I don't get it done in their barn, then it's like shuffle up and let's play. Because here we go from there. I mean, like you said, it's going to be the most ridiculous thing to ever happen in NHL history because the last team to come back from 3-0 down in a cup final to win it was in the 40s.
Yeah, with tungsten armored oil
Right?
and
Yeah.
Danny the Torpedo Jones or whatever
Right.
the
The
fuck.
game took 8.5 hours with all the cigarette and tobacco breaks. So but
Maybe
I don't know. I mean, if the Oilers can go back and get like 2 in the first period of game 6, I think they got it. They just got to come out hot.
I need a straight prediction. I'm hearing from Mac, Florida, so I need you, don't teeter totter on me, Manila. I need a
Oilers win 5-4. McDavid gets the go-ahead goal with 3:25 to go.
oh my goodness.
All right, we're getting specific. Fine. Matthew Tkachuk has a hat trick. His third goal is the game winner in overtime. And we see hats fly on the well, actually, there won't be that many hats because it's in Edmonton, but maybe a couple hats get sprinkled on the ice and the cats go crazy and Lord Stanley comes out.
You won't see hats in Edmonton. You might see some other stuff. But I mean, that one Oilers fan, I mean, not the one you're thinking of, the other lady the other night. Did you see her just like completely celebrating the Panthers' first goal? Like
Oh
she's
yeah,
just decked out in Oilers stuff.
that was crazy. Yeah, I did see that. Oh man, game 6 is a tough one, boys. I don't know. Like I picked Edmonton to win this series. I picked them in 6. Here we are. They're going into game 6. Obviously, they can't win it in 6. But I'm kind of on Mac's side. I feel like the Panthers are going to get it done here. I feel like whenever you get these 3-0 leads and it starts getting into panic mode, I have no stat to back this up. This is just purely on vibes and observation. But I feel like the team who was up ends up closing it out in 6 for all the silly nonsense. Maybe I'm having some recency bias with the Rangers and the Hurricanes, but that's kind of what it feels like for me.
And that's the difference when you go down 3-0 versus if you were like in a 2-1 and then you go down 3-1. Like it's just so much harder to come back from 3-0 versus 3-1 or anything else because there's just too much room for the other team to put their foot down and say, okay, we're not fucking blowing a 4th game in a row or a 3rd game in a row or whatever it is. And if you don't think Paul Maurice is going to have those boys in order, that man wants a fucking Stanley Cup. He's coached how many games at this point? I think they said the other day he's coached like the most amount of games in the league without winning the cup or something like that. But yeah, I'm feeling all right still.
And one of our other favorite things to talk about on the show is how difficult it is to beat a team 4 times in a 7-game series. It's also, in a way, difficult to lose to a team 3 times in a 7-game series. And, both of these coaches, I think, have proven to a point, Knobloch maybe a little bit more recently, that they're capable of making these adjustments on the fly. And let's not forget, flying back to Edmonton, they have 48 hours instead of 24 to turn this thing around. I think that's something that really can't be understated at this point in the season.
Yeah, Mac, to go back to your point, I not only does Paul Maurice have the most games coached without a cup, he has the 4th most wins all time in NHL history for a coach and still no cup. He's behind Scotty Bowman, Joel Quenneville, and Barry Trotz. All those guys have their cup. So yeah, this is a big one for Maurice. You obviously saw Bill Zito's reaction after game 5. He wants the cup, very obviously. Chucking the water bottle at the wall. I saw that make its way around the internet a little bit. In terms of what I think for game 6, I do think that Florida will end up getting it done. I just can't tell what kind of game we're going to get, boys. Like game 5, I went all in. I posted my picks on Twitter. I thought Bob would have a day, and obviously that backfired. I would think that game 6 is low scoring, but I've been wrong about that on the past 2 games. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's one of those things where there's just going to be so much energy in that building from the fans, from the crowd. Like that's going to be the best anthem maybe we see ever. in the Stanley Cup final.
Probably.
Who knows? It could be another 30 years before a Canadian team is back in the Cup final again. I'm just kidding. But, I think for the Oilers, their thing is just like tone it down after that. Bring yourself back down to earth and just go out and win the first 10 minutes and then win the next 10 minutes. And as long as they can keep themselves dialed, in control, and honestly aggressive like they have been, shorthanded and on the counterattack in the first period and all these other games, I think they can absolutely do this. I'm a little bit more leaning towards the Oil in this one than I would say you guys are.
That's the other thing. The Panthers' power play has been atrocious. It's been so
It
bad.
has.
That's really what's been costing them, in my opinion. They got to figure that out. But yeah, those are some Game 6 takes. It wouldn't be an Oilers episode if we didn't have our McDavid Gluck Gluck session. So obviously that one's going to come next. McDavid had 2 goals and 2 assists in Game 5, which officially made him the first player in NHL history to have back-to-back 4-point games in the Stanley Cup Final, let alone back-to-back elimination games in the Stanley Cup Final. So anyone questioning this guy's clutch gene, I think it has been answered this postseason.
I would say he checks Twitter.
Yeah, right. Or whatever the fuck he gets tagged in while he's doing all of his aloe brand deals.
Right. All his beer runs. In between that, he's looking at Instagram. He's going, "Oh, I haven't done enough. Okay."
And the wilder thing is, like, there's always the Crosby Malkin comparison with him and Leon. And I got to give Connor credit because, Gino historically has been just as good, if not better, than Sid in the playoffs. But Leon's having a tough kick at the can here. They've made it to Game 6 in these Stanley Cup Finals with Draisaitl putting up no goals and only 2 assists so far this series. So Connor is truly carrying this team on his back. No doubt about that.
It's not like Leon hasn't done enough to get this team to where it is in the playoffs, but it's one of those things I think in the Stanley Cup Finals, just what have you done for me lately? And I do feel bad for him to a degree, but it's also just uncharacteristic for him. You're wondering if he's 100%. I'm sure no one is at this point, but it definitely makes you think.
I was gonna say he looks hurt in my opinion. When he's entering the zone, he's doing that like Gretzky turn towards the wall. And every time he's looking for a pass. There's none of that driving the net. There's no getting shots on goal. He's pulling up a lot. It's kind of frustrating, especially if you have his props. But yeah, McDavid also, he has the second most points in his first Stanley Cup final appearance in NHL history. So this is strictly just for players making their first Cup final appearance. Lemieux had 12 points in 1991 finals. Briere also had 12 points in that Flyers 2010 run. And now McDavid has 11 this year, tied with Bossy and Brian Leetch. So he definitely has a chance to tie for first, if not take it sole possession. And then this one's the crazy one. This is the last one, promise. Most points ever in a single postseason. Quite the record to have. Maybe the best record to have as a postseason performer. Gretzky has the most all time with 47. Lemieux in second with 43. Gretzky also tied in second with 43. And then third place, Connor McDavid with 42 postseason points. I mean, I don't think first place is completely out of the question, right? Given what he's been doing the past couple games, he's got 5 points to tie and 6 to break the record.
Well, he's got 8 points in his last 2 games combined. So I think he's just on track at this point, right? For when they push this thing 7.
I was going to say it has to go 7. There is a way he could do it in 6, but it would have to be a barn burner and then they still lose, which doesn't really make sense. So yeah, if it goes 7 though, yeah, maybe.
That's a huge record though, Harry. I think you make a great point there. Like, of all the records you can take from 99, that's gotta be top 3.
I would agree. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like this is the postseason of like assists. Like,
yeah,
I think I saw a stat the other day that said, and I'm gonna get this a little bit wrong, but it was somewhere around like whoever leads the postseason in goals right now. It's only like I think it's like in the teens, like low teens or like 12 or 13 or something like that. Which to me, like, I don't know, am I wrong? Is that not that much?
Like normally we have like a front runner around like
yeah,
16,
there's usually
17.
somebody closer to like 20 or something. Maybe not like 20, but yeah, like 16, 17, 18. Like it seems like the goals have been kind of spread out more, where the assists are like where people are racking up the points.
I think
Because
Hyman.
Bouchard too, like he has. You just said it, but Bouchard has all those assists. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hyman. He got a tally in that last game, I think, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yeah, he's got 15 goals right now.
And
this
is that
postseason.
first?
That is first. Yeah, I think what didn't we read the all-time record was like Yari Curry or something,
Yes.
and I think it was like 19.
Okay, so maybe I'm not. It's not
I'm
too
pretty sure
far
it
off, I
might be a
guess.
trivia question, but yeah, no, Hyman got his first of the series in the last game, so that's obviously
Okay.
good for him.
All right. Well, don't listen to me. So
It's okay, Mac. It's hot. Brain mush.
yeah, I'm
Uh,
not thinking straight.
all right. Last question, then we'll move on to the gambling segment. Let's talk about the Conn Smythe, and I specifically want Mac to give his thoughts because we were texting about this earlier about how realistic is it that McDavid could win the Conn Smythe even if the Panthers win the Stanley Cup, and I think Mac broke it down perfectly.
Yeah, I think I was basically just saying like I see a few different routes. If I'm keeping it a Billy, I can only see maybe four different guys total that are even maybe going to get it. And to me, that's Bob, Bob, Kachuk, Barkov, or McDavid. I feel like it'll be one of those four guys that gets the Conn Smythe. I think there's a serious possibility this could be a year where the Oilers lose and McDavid gets it. The routes for that, I mean, I think you would obviously have to have another couple of points, ideally in Game 6, and then they just come up short or something like that. If he has a real good game in Game 6 and then they lose in 7, that's another thing. But what also would help his case that I was saying to these boys earlier is like Bob, you kind of said it as well, Harry. He's sort of started to play his way out of it. Now, if he pitches a shutout in Game 6 and clinches it, then he's right back up there at the top, in my opinion. But as long as the Oilers can continue to pot like 2 to 3 goals in either of these next two games, I think that basically takes Bob out of it. And I mean, Barkov and Kachuk, they'd have to have a series clinching like major goal or major play. Like Barkov would need like 2 assists and a goal, or Matty Kachuk needs a
Like an OT
Hattie or
goal in 6 or something.
yeah, something like that to do it. But I honestly think the easiest route is for McDavid to just kind of keep doing what he's doing, and they could still lose. I think he could get it as long as like they don't get shut out by Bob or something like that.
So it's been 20 years since our last one, which was Jiggy when the Ducks lost to the Devs. If you're going to have the Conn Smythe be awarded to a losing player, this is the losing player you give it to. And I think that the easiest way that he does this is by getting or tying Gretzky's record. If he gets to that points record, in my opinion, like this is such a points and scoring centered league that once that happens, it's just not even a question for me. Anyone on Florida could have an amazing game. They would still give it to him.
I agree. Well, right now on DraftKings, McDavid minus 200 to bring home that MVP, even with the Oilers down 3-2 right now.
Crazy how much that's shifted in the last
It has.
since the last game, basically.
Barkov at plus 300, Bobrovsky at plus 750, and Matthew Kachuk at plus 3,000.
I really think that Kachuk one is worth a $5 or a $10 wager. I really do. I love the way he played last game. Getting that goal, I first of all, it was a dart,
It
absolute
was.
dart. Second of all, I think that gives you some confidence, and like I said, if he has like a 2-goal game or scores a major goal to clinch this thing, I could see it.
I kind of like the Bob value. I know you were saying that I said he played his way out of it, which I still stand by, but for best bang for your buck, I mean, realistically, he could pitch a shutout or, stop 34 of 35 in Game 6, and then I think it's probably his. We'll see. I don't know. You're kind of betting plus 750 on Bob to have a hell of a game. I don't hate that.
There's also a little bit of a captaincy bias here. I mean, look at all the captains that have just been awarded the Conn Smythe. I don't think we can eliminate Barkov from that conversation just on that
Right.
alone.
Are we in agreement it's one of those four guys?
Absolutely. If it's anyone else,
There is the odds.
you can pick what you tattoo on my back. Let's
Yeah,
put it that
yeah.
way.
So it goes the top four, Kachuk being the least likely at plus 3,000, and then right after him is Bouchard at plus 30,000. So
Oh
yeah,
my God.
it's definitely one of those four.
There's no
Bouchard, Hattie in both games, and
there's no
he's
way
got
on the
it.
face of this earth that Gary Bettman goes and the MVP of the playoffs and the winner of the Conn Smythe
Yeah.
Trophy is Evan Bouchard. And
Yeah,
that's no
no,
disrespect to
no
him
way.
because he's had an amazing year,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just not happening.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is Leon's not even in the top 10, which is just so like it makes sense. He's having a bad final, but if you would have told me that before the series, I would have said you're insane. So that's that. And like I just said, we're going to move on to the gambling segment. We just kind of teased you all with it, but a reminder that this segment is brought to you by our friends over at Prop Tracker. You can go download that app right now. They give you all the best prop information for any sport. Be good for MLB in the summer. So go check it out. Great guy who runs the app, and I use it all the time, so it's fun. All right, so we already went over who we think is going to win. Edmonton coming in at minus 120 on the money line. Florida coming in at plus 102. Over under at 5.5. It's a gimme on either side, minus 110. And then Edmonton on the puck line. This one's fascinating to me. Plus 210 for Edmonton on the puck line. I'd be more interested to see, I don't have it in front of me right now, what Florida on the reverse puck line is, the minus 1.5. That would be a interesting one to see. Probably like plus 230, plus 240 if I were to bet. Ahead of game 6, there are really only two guys that you need to be watching for props that are worth any value. And our good friend Puck Picks, who came on the show a couple episodes ago, he called it, and these guys have been money. Sam Bennett and Evan Rodriguez. These guys have been unreal for the Cats so far. Both of them have points in 4 of 5 games in this finals. Rodriguez also has a couple of multi-point efforts. You can get Bennett to get a point at plus 110 every night. And Evan Rodriguez is plus 135 to get a point in game 6, and he's been money for the Cats.
Damn, I have your Panthers line here. It's plus 1.5 minus 258.
Can you find minus 1.5? Do they offer that?
Let me
Like
check.
the other side? Yeah, I'd be interested to see what they're because if you think Florida's going to win like Mac and I do, I would imagine that there's
Panthers
going to be
minus 1.5. You nailed it. Is plus 230.
Yep.
I don't hate that at all.
I don't
Empty
either.
netter, winning bets on empty nets.
It's a
Yeah,
little
that's
plus a dentist appointment there for you. Why not?
it's actually funny because I have a dentist appointment coming up, and yeah, it's like $230, so whatever. All right, Mac, you have discovered the ultimate gambling cheat code for Major League Baseball. Why don't you tell our listeners what your discovery is?
Yeah, I've been chomping at the bit since last Friday to share this with the audience here, but this is kind of crazy. So I was at Orioles Phillies last Friday. It was a great game, sold out, literally felt like a playoff game, unreal atmosphere. We tied it, O's tied it in the what 9th inning, 10th inning, something like that. And then like right after we tie it, there's a rain delay. We waited it out for a bit, ended up leaving. Phillies won 5-3. None of that matters for what I'm about to tell you. Here's what I'm about to tell you. I think it's like maybe the 7th inning or something like that, and the pitching carousel starts with both teams. They're doing the thing where new relievers coming in every 2 or 3 batters for each team. And I had already lost. I made like one bet that night. But it involved like Bradish having a bunch of strikeouts. He got pulled early, which we found out today is because he is having Tommy John surgery. Fuck my life. That's a whole different thing. But here's the cheat code. I had just finished telling my friend Brad how like baseball is where you can do the most degenerate bets. Like they'll let you bet on like every different pitch, like result of next pitch, is it a ball or a strike, all this stuff. And he's not super like, he doesn't know that much about gambling. So he was like, wow, that's crazy. Didn't know that. And I was trying to show him like an example, right? So I'm like looking at like what you can bet. And I see right as they're bringing a new pitcher in for the O's, it was I think it was when Kimbrel was coming in actually because everybody was booing him because he was on the Phillies. Um, and they give you this option, which is they give you this is warning. This is like the most degenerate thing. Like when I tell you this, and you're gonna be like, you're betting on that, like you have a problem. But just hear me out for a second.
It's fine. We're
They
sponsored. It's okay.
yeah. They give you like I forget the exact thing, but it was like Craig Kimbrell first pitch he throws over or under like 87 and a half miles per hour. And I saw that and I was like, huh, that's a really like specific one. That's super weird. I had already done pretty well on the hockey game the night before. I actually won like $80 on the I think that was game 3. So I had a little bit of money to play with, right? And I'm bored. I already lost my baseball bet for that night. So I was like, wait, this is actually hilarious. I just get like this instant gratification. I get to find out who wins this bet as soon as he throws the first pitch. And in the stadium, they show you like on that one screen how fast it was.
Yeah.
And I'm also with like 6 of my boys. So I just thought it'd be funny, right? So I put $20 on the over for this to be over 86 and a half or whatever it was. And I tell everyone I'm with, and they're all like making fun of me. They're like, that's the dumbest thing you possibly bet, but okay. And of course, we all get so hyped. We're like, here it comes. First pitch. He beats it by like a few MPH. And we're all going crazy. We're like, no way, no way. And so then inning ends, Phillies guy, new pitcher. I do the same thing. I just keep hammering the same bet that whatever the new pitcher throws is going to be over whatever MPH they give you. Because here's the thing. When a new pitcher comes into a game in baseball, 9 times out of 10, he's going to throw his hardest pitch first.
Yes.
That's just what almost every time, unless there's some specific batter thing where he knows the guy and he wants to fuck with him and start with an off speed, that'll happen. But like, I'll tell you right now, because I hit the first one, I was like, well, that's free money. I'm just going to put the same thing I won down. I did it 6 times and I went 5 for 6.
Well, that's free money. I love that line.
Because they kept changing pitchers. So I did it with 6 new pitchers, and the only one I got wrong was Yennier Cano because he threw a breaking ball for his first pitch, and it wasn't a fastball, so I missed that one. But I still we counted after the game, and out of those 6 bets, I profited like $80 or something like that. And
this is fascinating.
I put like 10 or 15 or I think 20 down once, and then it was 10 or 15 every time, and I ended up 80 just on those 6 bets. And it's just hilarious. Like we were all going crazy for the first pitch, and everyone around us was like, "Okay, he threw his first pitch."
Do you like know him or something?
Yeah.
I do now.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I haven't done it since. I think it's more fun to like be there and do it. It's not like I'm not going to turn into a total degenerate and like watch random baseball games and do this all the time.
Well,
but
speak for yourself. Guess what I'm doing after this.
If you're looking for something and you have a little bit of money to play with in your account already, I think it's kind of fun. I really think there's something to it. I think there's a pattern there. I think that you'd be stupid as a relief pitcher. Again, there's exceptions, but for the most part, you're going to throw your hardest pitch, your first pitch. You're just going to. So
that's a great point. I mean, that's a great discovery, especially like when you're at the ballpark and they start doing the receiver carousel or reliever carousel, because you can sort of look and be like, okay, I've got a little bit of a jump on this. I know someone else is coming in. I know he's got to get from the bullpen to the mound. I've got time to lock that in. Whereas like TV, you're probably dealing with at least 10 seconds of tape delay
and then you don't know who it is and yes, exactly. And that was part of it too. Like the next guy would start jogging in, we'd be like, who is it? And we're like, okay, I'm doing it again.
Who's got the roster pulled up?
We were having so much fun with it. It was so funny. But
that's a great thing to do for like a day game that you go to with your friends. We should try that when we shoot an Empty Betters content piece at Camden of us doing the 9 and 9 challenge.
Ooh.
Yep.
I can't wait to make a YouTube video called "The Best MLB Bet That Books Don't Want You to Know About," and the cover is Max shirtless with a cock hat.
I was gonna say,
hockey hat
and
on,
the funniest thing about it
smoking
is
a dart.
They won't have watched the full episode, so they'll have no idea why. I'm sure.
Yeah. He's just smoking a dart in the thumbnail and it gets like 250K views. It could happen.
Yep.
I've seen
Probably because
crazy-
I'm so sexy. They're like, oh my God, I got to click that.
100%.
Exactly. All right. Well, that does it for our gambling segment. Couple little pieces of news, and then just a little bit of trivia, and we'll get you all out of here. But I think Nick has a word from our friends over at Kane Footwear before we get to the news.
That's right. I absolutely do. You guys know that this episode is brought to you by Kane Footwear, the ultimate choice for hockey players both on and off the ice. After a tough game, your feet deserve some TLC, and that's where Kane Footwear comes in. Their shoes are designed to provide the perfect balance of comfort and support, helping you recover faster and get back to the game you love. So whether you're hitting the rink or hitting the outdoors, make sure you're wearing Kane Footwear. Visit the Kane Footwear link in our bio today to find your perfect pair. Kane Footwear, the official recovery shoe of empty bettors.
All right, just get a speed bag here through some roster moves. We really haven't been, catering our episodes towards the coaching and roster stuff. We just want to focus mostly on the Cup Finals and the betting stuff. But some pretty significant moves that came over today. So we'll just read through them. Congratulations to the New Jersey Devils. They got goaltender Jacob Markstrom 4 months later than they really should have gotten him. The Flames receive a 2025 first in Kevin Ball. So good on them. I'll read through these and then we can give our thoughts after. San Jose Sharks have claimed Barclay Goodrow off waivers from the New York Rangers. So he is going back to San Jose. The Sharks also traded a 4th rounder to the Stars for Ty Dellandrea. And then this one, I know we've got some people on Twitter saying they want some reaction from our Caps fans over here. So I will ask for a reaction on this one. The Washington Capitals and LA Kings have pulled off a 1-for-1 hockey trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois and Darcy Kemper. I am fascinated by this move, and I'm really excited to hear your guys' reaction to this. Take the floor.
Yeah, I mean, look, am I super psyched that we're getting PLD? Not really. Am I super heartbroken that we're losing Darcy Kemper? Also not really. Do I still, for some reason, have like a lot to say and a really strong opinion about this? Kind of, and I'm not really sure why. But I do want to just do my due diligence. God damn it. And tell all the like silly little Caps fans on Twitter who love like freaking out about dumb shit that it's gonna be okay and that this really is not that crazy of a thing. I know people are panicking, like, wow, we just sick. We just gave away our starting goalie to just have like the worst contract in the NHL. And it's like, yeah, maybe that's how this ends up. But there's also, I think there's a huge like risk reward thing here, and we're just hoping that this pans out for us. Also, I don't know. I looked at PLD's like stats. It's not that bad, you guys. Like it's really not as bad. Like there's people commenting being like, this might be one of the worst like biggest busts of all time. And I'm like, I don't know about that, dude. Like he's had a few really fucking good seasons. Like
here we go.
The good news is that it's still not the worst trade that this franchise has ever made yet.
Yeah.
So we're going to let this one play out. But I was a little bit less than thrilled when I saw this. And, Mac, I'm going to agree with you. Like the numbers and like, I think he just had a bad year in LA.
Yeah.
I just don't think it worked well.
Huh. It's not his first bad year either.
It's not. And I mean, don't get me wrong. He was playing his best hockey in probably the worst team he's ever been on in Columbus, which is a very weird way to look at that.
He had one really good year with the Jets.
Yeah.
I think he had like 28 goals or something like that and like 45 or 50 points. Like
here's my thing.
It's in there somewhere.
You know what sucks is you guys remember Dennis from the SpongeBob movie, the big cowboy guy with like the giant boot with the spikes on it?
Yes.
Yeah, the one who's like hired to kill SpongeBob for some reason or whatever, because that's the plot that belongs in a kid's movie. That boot is what's kicking me in the balls, and it just says 8.5 million per year for the next 6 years. So that's where I'm like, stick it in me and let's just get it done. So I'm a little bit less thrilled about that. I understand why this move was made. This move was made largely due to the fact that the Caps goalie pipeline right now is a little backed up. And it's probably time to give Hunter Shepherd a shot at being a consistent full-time number 2 NHL goalie.
Or Clay Stevenson.
Either one.
He's younger and
yeah,
arguably maybe even a higher touted prospect. Or the Caps might do the classic thing they always do and go out and get a journeyman. Like,
right.
I don't know who, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did that either, which is fine. But last thing I'll say about it, I do think there is a really like high ceiling for the potential of this trade. Like I do see I mean, look what we did with Dylan Strome.
That's true.
It could be one of those things where we
Milano
accidentally
too.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. That's not going to be like a fleece or a steal or a bargain, no matter how good he gets, because we're still paying him a lot. But I do think that there's a chance that, like, I don't know, maybe he just needs like a really young coach. That's what we got. So
the way I kind of spun this, and I had a couple of my like Caps fans that are my friends were like, "Oh, what the hell? What are we doing? Like, why would we trade for this guy?" And my reaction was, look, the Caps have goalies, the Kings need a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
The Kings have centers, the Caps need a center.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it just kind of worked out and they were like, let's go ahead and do this now before Dubois is able to walk for literally nothing for the Kings and the Caps don't get a better offer.
Yep. Also, Pierre-Luc Dubois is 20. He turns 26 in like 5 days. He's 25 years old right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think we necessarily need to like write him off immediately and be like he's gonna be horrible for his entire career. Maybe he just hasn't found a home yet, you know?
I agree.
Darcy Kemper's 34. Like, it's not I'm not worried about losing DK at all. That's fine.
Not DraftKings or don't know, but Darcy Kemper. Yeah.
Yes.
My thing is like, yeah, I'm a little bit more cautious when it comes to what Dubois' ceiling would be. But yeah, for, a 34 for a 26, and in terms of what the potential upside for growth is here,
Yes,
yeah, absolutely. It's the right call. It's just, it's high risk is the best way to put it, in my opinion, which unfortunately is something the Capitals have done a lot of in the past. And I would say about 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work out. But like you mentioned in the past, Dylan Strome, Nico Kubel, Sonny Milano, Anthony Mantha for a little bit, you know.
Yeah. We'll see.
Mike Ribeiro. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, hot topic.
Yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how fans cope with a bad trade. That's it. You find all the optimistic, and come November, I can't wait to hear the review.
One last thing. LA Kings, you basically traded Gabe Velarde, a second round pick. Who else?
It's like Iafallo.
Yep. And like one other guy for Darcy Kemper. So enjoy that. Welcome home, DK.
All right, Harry. Let it rip.
Horrible move. You're going to regret this. November is going to be fun. I can't wait for the season to start. We're not even done this season.
So on like November 24th, like the day after Thanksgiving, when he puts up like 2-2 on the Penguins, what are we getting?
Well, it'll probably be his first 4 points of the season. So, he'll come out to play there. But
I feel so bad saying this, but like I was texting a close personal friend of this podcast that this guy was my cardio king all year this year. And Morgan Miller was like, oh my God, you have no idea. But
I was going to say there's 1000% receipts on this season's episodes where we've trashed this guy.
Hold on. One last thing that I'm just thinking about, just for a quick sec. What the fuck are the Kings doing? They traded for this guy, immediately signed him to like the most ridiculous deal of all time. Not of all time. There's actually a lot more crazy ones, but it's a pretty ridiculous deal and unprecedented. Like, I know that happened a while ago, but like, what in the world did they sign him to that deal for?
I think Rob Blake has to get some serious heat for this one. Like, don't get me wrong, he's done some good things for that team, but this is one where
that's just the
dumbest part about this deal is the fact that he signed for 8 years at 8.5.
Yeah, why did they trade for like an unproven, like teeter-totter guy and just immediately sign him to that contract? It's actually insane.
I think
So
they thought
I hate
he
to
would.
break it. I hate to break it to you, but the Caps just did the same thing though. Like they just traded for that unproven guy like
Well,
2 years after he signed
Well,
it.
we didn't sign the contract. We're just living with it, which
I
sucks. But like, I'm just
that might be
asking
dumber.
what possesses a GM to like just do that? Like,
I think he thought that like Dubois was magically just gonna like copy Philip Deneau and like they were
Yeah.
gonna be like a 1-2 center punch for the
Or
Kings.
learn from Kopitar, but I will say this, as bad of a contract as that was, I'm more impressed that Rob Blake actually found a way to move it. And for a somewhat like competent piece, I know we've talked about the Kings goaltending whenever they play the Oilers. Not saying Kemper's gonna push them over the edge, but the fact that the Kings don't have to deal with this anymore, and now the Caps do, it's just strange to me. It's strange. It's a
Well, I
strange
think that
move.
the Kings
does
not
make you
having
feel
the
like I was just gonna say it makes you feel like they know something we don't. Like I would kill to be a fly on the wall in the phone conversation between GMBM and Rob Blake. Like what you know what I mean? Like
What went down there?
yeah, it feels like we're like missing something. But
especially like I feel like when we first saw the deal, I was like, okay, so the Kings are retaining half of this, right?
Yeah, no retain. None. Like, and I'm not trying to be like a Caps hater. It just truly I'm interested as to like what went into this. I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
interesting.
Yeah.
Also Kemper's second go around with the Kings, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome home.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like the other thing too, Caps fans. BMAC, you gotta just trust the process at this point. And also, like I saw someone else be like, they're just gonna do what they can to get like somewhat talented players now, not prospects on this team while Ovi's there and see if something sticks. Like you're kind of just throwing darts at the board until
Yeah,
he retires, and then you
your
can be
back
like,
is
all
up
right,
against the wall. I don't think
yeah.
that, you can slice that any other way. And
So
to that credit, or to his like, credit, I'm happy he's trying something as opposed to just going, we're going to go into this season with the
yeah,
exact same roster we
right.
did last year.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
And that's your 20-minute recap of Pierre-Luc Dubois. Congrats.
and the good news is we'll never have to talk about that again for the rest of the year. This will be the
Yeah,
last time you hear that name
for
in the
sure.
podcast.
Absolutely. Real quick, some CBJ updates. Pascal Vincent was fired as the head coach of the Blue Jackets on Monday. So they're going to be on the prowl. And then Patrick Laine has requested a trade out of Columbus. The Jackets are looking to move him. Heard a lot of rumors about some teams that could use him. Seattle's up there. Seen Pittsburgh's name in there. So we'll see how it all shakes out. You guys want to do a little Calder Cup final update? I don't know how deep you want to go into that.
Yeah, it's been a crazy start to the Calder Cup final. It's a rematch of last year between Coachella Valley and Hershey. Hershey somehow, some way, after getting out to a 3-0 lead and then losing said 3-0 lead, was able to advance to the final again. So game one, the Firebirds take it 4-3. The Bears bounced back in game two, winning 5-2, and then got to take the New England Patriots charter plane from Hershey, Pennsylvania, all the way to Coachella Valley, California, where unfortunately the Firebirds won game three, 6-2. So this Firebirds team is very good. They're very motivated, obviously, after last year's defeat. Shane Wright looks incredible. He scored a highlight reel goal last night. They're just so talent heavy. I have a very, very bad feeling, Mac, that the Bears are going to come up a little bit short this year, but it's going to be a long series. So excited for the end of this one for sure.
It's been fun to watch soon, but I am also getting that feeling, kind of like the Stanley Cup Finals. It's hard to beat. Well, not just beat. It's hard for a team to go to the Cup Final 2 years in a row and not win one of those. So, and that's a good Coachella team. So we'll see.
All right. Well, we're going to end this episode with trivia, and then we'll get you all out of here. Mac, I know you have a word from Elwoods.
Sure do. Shout out to Elwoods. Reminder to support your local dive bar. Go down there, have a beer. If it's your birthday, go down there, get some free swag, watch some hockey, wear some hockey gear, get free shots. It's always a good time at that bar. And you might just see me. I'll have a shirt on though. So I don't know if that is more or less enticing for you to go, but support Elwood's.
Wear your
great bar,
favorite
great place.
pizza jersey and do a hockey luge.
Yeah, exactly.
Will you be there Friday for the game?
Not Friday. We got Summerfest this weekend, so I'll
Ooh.
probably be knee deep in some bands. But Sunday, if we get, or wait, no, Monday, right?
Yes, Monday, which is
Monday.
ass.
Oh, they're closed on Mondays, so
Double ass. Okay.
yeah. Anyway, you guys want to do some trivia and then get out of here?
Let's
Sure.
rip it.
All right, this is very thematic. It's Conn Smythe trivia night. All right, here we go. This is a little bit off the beaten path, but I think it's a fun one. There's a couple questions in here. Answer what you know. The first question I'm going to ask you is, so between center, left wing, right wing, defense, and goalie, 5 positions, can you rank what position has won the most Conn Smythes down to the least amount?
Ooh.
Or at least tell me the first and the last, something like that.
Harry, you want to tag team this?
Yeah, I'm thinking
Center's got to be first. And then honestly, like, do you think goalie might be second?
I
Or
think goalie would be.
defenseman?
I go. What was your first gut instinct?
I'm torn between those two. In my head, when he read it, I'm instantly going center 1, goalie or defenseman 2 or 3, and then wingers are after that.
I think maybe defenseman is right. At second. Center 1, we agree on that.
Center's
Wingers,
definitely 1.
Center
Wingers
is
are
one.
last.
I'll give you that.
Wingers are last, right? I would say. Yep. Let's go with that, Nick. Wingers last.
Okay.
The middle 2.
Do
I'll
we
leave
have
it
to
up
like choose left or right wing, or can we just say wingers?
Well, there's going to be a part 2 to the question that's going to come into play.
Okay, great.
And that's the really hard part of the question.
All right, centers 1. Nick, what do you want to?
Let's go. I don't know. Like, part of me wants to go like
Flip a
old
coin.
school, like 80s, 90s. So I'm thinking like
D.
all those D. But then there were a ton of goalies that won Conn Smythes back then too.
Let's rip D.
Let's go with D.
D2, goalies 3, wingers
4.
4 and 5. Not sure which side is
Yeah,
which.
just tell me a guess for right or left first.
Left first, right second.
Okay, so here it is. The Conn Smythe Trophy has been awarded to centers 19 times, to goaltenders 17 times,
Oh.
to defensemen 12 times,
Oh,
to right wingers 8 times.
oof.
And this is crazy. This is the part that actually blew my mind. Take a guess how many left wingers have won the Conn Smythe.
Is it 1?
2.
What? I know
Ovi
one of
won it?
them.
Ovi's
Yeah.
one of them, right?
Ovi's one of them. And this is the really hard part of the question. I couldn't have got this. My dad actually didn't even get it. Is there any way in hell you can tell me the other left winger that has won a Conn Smythe?
So here's my question. Is this
It's not.
Is this pre 1980?
Just barely. It's 79.
Oh.
Who the fuck won the 79 cup? Kind of cuts off for me around 84 when Gretzky
Yeah.
started.
Is Bobby Clark a winger? Okay.
It's
Am
not
I
him.
in the right
In a
team?
way, that's close.
Okay.
It's not the right team, but
The team they beat, or the team they lost
I'm
to?
not gonna. I don't know.
Nick, do you know who won the
Mike
1980 Stanley Cup?
Bossy.
No.
Fuck.
Do you know who won the 80 cup?
I think I
Is that-
do.
79 cup is what you're looking for.
79. Is that the Islanders?
Nope.
No.
It was the year before the Islanders, I think. Was
I
this
think you're right.
the Bleu Blanc et Rouge, the Montreal Canadiens?
It was the Habs that won it, and it was a member of the Habs.
Like I'm not a hockey historian, so don't roast me, but like is this Jean Beliveau or something?
No,
That's
That's way
too
before.
late to be Beliveau, right?
Yeah,
I
it
don't.
is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you is this like a household name that like you
I
know?
know the guy. I was never gonna guess him, but I know the guy.
Do you know his number off the top of your head by any chance?
I
Okay.
don't. I can find out.
That's okay. I don't want to know it either way. But all right, Harry, we're going with late 70s Habs guys. So
What's that Carbonell's got? What Carbonell?
Guy Carbonneau? I
Is
don't
that
know.
I
the answer?
think if it helps, I think his number's up in the rafters.
That doesn't help. There's a
It's
lot of
not
those.
either of the Rockets, right? Because the 70s would have been too late for them.
Nope. Nope.
Especially 79.
Yeah.
Who?
The Guy Lafleur,
Nope.
he was a center, right?
No, it sounds like it's a name that you know, but it's not like a staple. Man, there's
Yeah,
stairwell punchers.
I think his name is in the rafters. Looks like it. There's so many numbers you can't wear on that.
That's why I said it, like the number.
It
knowing
really
he's in the
doesn't
rafters
help.
Give me
There's like-
single digit or double digit.
It's a double-digit number.
Okay. So start with a 2.
It does.
Does it end with a 5?
No.
Oh, fuck me.
Who's that?
Oh, I know this. It's Kenny Dryden. No, never mind.
Nope.
Winger.
I know. I'm just messing with
Oh.
Mac.
I don't fucking know. We
It's
guessed
okay if you
Lafleur, Rocket, Belvo, Carbonell. What's in
We did the Richards.
Dunno? God, these Habs guys always trip me up. There's so many of them. I
In a
don't know.
way, I don't know like how he played this postseason, but I do believe this guy is more known as like a Barkov or like a Bergeron guy, like being just a total like defensive like unit as a forward. I'm sure he must have scored a bunch of goals this year too to get the Conn Smythe.
I have no clue if I'm being perfectly frank.
It's
Nick,
not
you giving
Denny
up?
Savard, is it?
Nope.
Okay.
I was gonna be one of my guesses, but no, I don't know. I'm stumped.
Hold on.
I guess Carbonell. That was the defensive guy I was thinking of.
It's way too early for Vinny Damphus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
79.
Left winger. So not Bob Gainey.
It's Bob Gainey.
Let's go.
Wow.
It's Bob Gainey. Nice.
Nick. Dude, pre-1985, I suck at hockey history.
I'm just
Yeah,
thinking I was like
I do too. So
just replaying like all those like NHL network like paid
Yeah.
programming like horrible
right.
ads that they would run. It's like the Montreal Canadiens in 1970 with
Yeah.
oh, it's so funny.
Good one, Mac.
Yep.
That was tough.
But isn't that wild? I had no idea only 2 left wingers ever. That's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
It's a weird stat.
so
Glad
Yeah.
you held that one though. All right, everybody. We appreciate the love and support as always. If you guys don't have any final words, we'll get you all on out of here. We good?
Yep.
All righty. Enjoy game 6, maybe a game 7. Time will tell.
Could be.
We'll see. But it's going to be a fun one in Alberta on Friday night. Enjoy the game. And without further ado,
Class dismissed.